Welcome back to How Fred Does It. We've got a couple of camping, cooking situations going on today after we do a little bit of maintenance, spreading about 13 yards of gravel here. Thank you to my son-in-law and my daughter that came and helped me get this gravel all spread. You should check out my son-in-law's channel if you got a little time at AMFE-lifestyle. He's does a little fishing, a little outdoor stuff. Got some stuff out there to check out. But big thanks to him and his help on the gravel. And so first thing we got to do is brown up some sausage for the pizzas. We're going to be making some bagel pizzas on the wood stove. This is something I generally do during the winter and hot tent camping, but thought it might be fun for this camping adventure. And so I've got my little Coleman fold-up stove here. So we've had the fire going for a while, got the sausage browned, and getting ready to set up the stove. The top of the wood stove has gotten a little bit warped, so it kind of bounces around a little bit. But one of the things, a couple things I've learned with this, especially if you're trying to use it outdoors, to keep temperature bit more stable, as I put a round pizza stone in the bottom. Takes a little while to get it warmed up that way, but once it's warm, when you open and closing the door and using the oven, it holds temperature a little better. I've also gotten a couple of these felt. They're kind of a welding blanket, but they're just felt, high temperature felt, and I wrap that around the stove to keep the wind and breeze from taking the heat away. Here we've got our first pan. I think it's a 9-inch round baking dish, and you just take and split your bagels in half and put your toppings on, putting a little bit of tomato sauce on there, and adding some cheese. And I think we had little mini pepperonis, the Italian sausage, mushrooms, and pineapple. And you just kind of build your pizzas in the pan the way you like them. And I can generally get the oven even outside up to about 300, between 300 and it'll fluctuate between 300 and 350 degrees on the wood stove. And I put them in for about 20 minutes, and you've got some nice little personal pizzas there. They work pretty good. They're fun. My daughter loves them when we go camping. Here we just got adults doing it, but something that kids enjoy, building their pizza, and you can cook them pretty quick. You got to do them in a few phases. You can only do 3 at a time, but you can keep a few people eating while you're cooking. So here I'm getting ready to just checking on it. They've been in there a few minutes, and it should be about ready. I think I'm just checking them here. So as I say, the temperature varies, so you kind of gotta check them out. I think here I'm pulling them out and wanting to see if the bagels are starting to crisp up. So I'm just checking them, and they're still not quite. Bagels aren't crisping up quite yet, so we'll put them in for a few more minutes. And like I say, this takes about 20 minutes to get these cooked and done, and those are done. They need more cheese though, so might have to talk to the cook. I think that next round looked like it had a little more cheese in it. But so that's the bagel pizzas. Pretty easy, fun little camping dinner you can throw together pretty quick. And here, this is the big project for the weekend: a 15-pound brisket brontosaurus slab of meat over the fire. So this is about a 5 to 7 hour process, depending upon how things go and how far you want to cook the brisket. I did not cook it to the full 205 degrees, for complete falling apart brisket. I cooked it to probably about 275 or so, a little over 5 hours. But I cook it over the fire for a couple of hours, rotating it and just keeping it not directly over the fire, but close enough that it is getting cooked. And here I'm putting some seasoning on it. You can use whatever seasoning you like. And you just kind of keep an eye on the fire, and keep an eye on the meat every few 20 minutes or so, and just kind of keep moving around here. I've burned down the wood a little bit, so I'm going to add a little more wood to the fire to keep it going. And so we keep it cooking. I also had a bag of hickory charcoal that I had thrown in earlier just to give it a little more flavor than just campfire smoke, and trying to decide here, do I need more wood? So I got some going on the other side so I can keep pulling coals across, and yeah, I figure that's about enough there. So we'll put that down and we'll flip it around to the other side. I love this Vivor rack, the swivel rack. As you can see, it's pretty sturdy. It's holding 15 pounds of meat on there. And the biggest thing is just kind of keep an eye on it and keep checking on it, keep the fire going, try not to have the flames, directly on the meat. We're going to flip it over here in a minute. Just kind of keep moving it back and forth and try and keep the cooking even. But yeah, it's fun to do. I probably have done this a couple, 3, 4 times. We do a lot of cooking of steaks, but to have a nice big hunk of meat on the fire like this is kind of a fun little project, way to spend your day cooking. So yeah, here we're going to flip it over, and you'll see a little bit of well, maybe I'm just moving it that time, but you'll see a little bit. Add a little more wood. Fire's burning down. I probably could have cut some of this out. It gets I've cut it down from well over 5 hours to about a 14-minute video. So just a lot of time tending it and keeping an eye on it, and adding wood and keeping it cooking. But it generally comes out pretty darn good. Yeah, here we go. We're going to flip it over here so we can see the other side. You'll see that it's got a little bit of blackness on it, but it's not really burnt. And after I've had the meat on here for about 2 hours, I'll pull it off, and so it's got a few more minutes here flipped over on the other side of cooking. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and pull it off here now and get it on the tray, and we'll take it up to the table, and I'll wrap it up in a number of layers of foil, and then we'll put it on the barbecue for the last 3.5 to 5 hours. So yeah, here we've got the brisket on the table. I've got the spice there. I've added a little more spice on top, and start wrapping this up tight in foil, and that slightly charred blackened area will just soften right up as it cooks in the juices, and you don't get a burnt flavor, and you don't get a real hard crust, that some people don't like. So and at this point I just wrap it up good in 4 or 5 layers of foil. It's hard to seal it up 100%, but try and keep as much of the juices in it as possible. Yeah, just wrapping it around. I normally have a larger roll of foil with me, one of the long rolls. So I think it's almost twice as long as that standard roll of foil, and that actually works quite a bit better, but for whatever reason I didn't have it with me on this trip, so we had to resort to the standard length foil, but that worked all right. And then once I get it all wrapped in foil, I've got a meter probe that I plug in the thickest end, and so I can monitor the temperature of that end of the meat, and it'll give me a calculation. Oh, hi, Lindsay. I see you're waving in the background going in the tent. And so we get the barbecue set on the lowest setting, and I use generally just 2 of the burners. So all 3 burners, it just gets way too hot. It's hard to keep it down around 225, 250 with all 3 burners on. And so yeah, we close her up and check on it occasionally for a couple, 3 more hours, and here it is pulled out. I've got it in a tub here. This is a tub with a cutting board in the bottom for shredding meat, and works real good for the brisket as well, so that you can keep all the juices down in there in the meat, and actually have a cutting board in the bottom. You don't have to worry about cutting through just a normal plastic tub. And I actually slip an additional cutting board down in there, just one of the I guess they're kind of plastic flexible cutting boards you can get and use in your kitchen for vegetables and stuff. I just slide that down in under the meat, so I'm not cutting directly on the cutting board, and hopefully my meat bucket will last a little longer. And just my little open all knife, and it's cutting like butter. It turned out really good, really juicy. You can see as I cut a little bit of this that towards the end it's starting to get to that point on the outside edges where it's actually shredding like you would if you were doing a pulled pork or a shredded brisket meal. But we're eating it more like a steak, cutting slabs out of it. But it was really good. Everybody that was there enjoyed it. I enjoyed cooking it. So yeah, you see how the edge is falling apart there, which is good. Had I cooked it all the way to 205 degrees, it would have all fallen apart. Then it's got a nice lid, so we can set it aside till everybody else is ready to eat. And we're all packed up here, and just kind of a final little walk around, show all our gravel that we spread, and all of the work done by my oldest daughter and her hubby Andre, and can't thank them enough for the work. This is around Mom's trailer, so we filled in an area here that had gotten low, and over the years this whole side, all the gravel had gotten pushed down into the dirt and uneven, and so we got all this gravel spread out here so Mom can walk on a nice dry, even, clean surface. And we got the driveway all renewed and smoothed out, and got this bottom section by the road filled back in. The park comes through and just puts a strip kind of down the center of the street, and so we've gotten a low spot over the years that collects water, so we went ahead and filled that all in and level with the street, and looking pretty good. So thank you all for coming on out. That's where we're gonna end it for today. I hope you guys can take some of these cooking ideas and incorporate them into your next outing, and have a great meal and friendship with those that are out there with you. So that's how Fred does it, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care, all.